What is corruption? Corruption is the process, and the end result, when a person's mind, heart, and personality becomes so weak and ends up being consumed and drowns in evil. Corruption is the process of deceiving oneself, creating an illusion to manipulate and twist one's own sense of morality, right and wrong, good and evil, to justify doing the wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous things, despite the fact that one already knew that such things are wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous. Corruption is the act of justifying and doing the wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous things, if one thinks they would benefit more by doing such things, or if such things currently coincide with one's own narrative. Only a person whose mind, heart, and personality has been already influenced, or worst fully consumed by evil, would be able to do such things they already know is wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous. Characteristics of corruption. Morally detached. People that have been corrupted have a poor or worst zero sense of what is right and wrong, good or evil. Such people have the ability and capability to turn on and off their conscience and not have any moral standards. This allows such people to actively justify and do the wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous things, despite already knowing that such things are wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous, especially if they think that such things will benefit them more. Twisted sense of morality. Due to being morally detached, the mere sense of good and evil of such people disappears or at least is altered. That their own sense of right and wrong, good and evil, is not anymore based on what is right and wrong, good and evil. Instead, their own sense of right and wrong, good and evil, is now instead based on themselves, what they want and what they do not want. Because of this, it is easier of them to justify and do the wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous things. It is easier for corrupted people to twist and manipulate their own sense of right and wrong, good and evil. If such people think that doing the wrong and immoral things will be more beneficial for them, then such people will find a way to justify and do such wrong and immoral things. They think that the reasons they have for doing the wrong and immoral things will make such things less wrong and immoral. Worst is that some people do not even bother justifying the wrong and immoral things they do, they just do it. At the same time, if such people think that doing the right, correct things are more problematic and troublesome for them, then such people will find reason why they do not do such things. Worst is that some people won't even justify why they are not doing the right, correct things. For such people, things will only become wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous if they will not benefit from it, or if it does not go along with their own narrative. Self-centered. Corruption removes any real sense of empathy, sympathy, love, and consideration for others, as people's mind, heart, and personality are consumed by corruption. The more they will only think about themselves and what they want. Everything becomes about them, about what they want, and what they do not want. Even the mere concept of good and evil, right and wrong is irrelevant. Because of this, people are willing, and even able to do the wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous things, for their own sake. Then if by any chance the truth has been revealed, such corrupt people would do everything to keep themselves safe, to a point where they are willing to indulge in more corruption, twist and manipulate everything, and everyone, even the mere sense of good and evil, right and wrong, and the law, to protect themselves. Again, because of selfishness, things only become truly wrong, immoral, illegal, and dangerous, if only they would not benefit from such things. Weapon. Corruption becomes a tool for the corrupted people. Corruption is their tool to get what they want, when they want it, and however they want it. The concept of morality, of right and wrong, good and evil is irrelevant, or at least they personally dictate the terms and conditions. Corruption is a tool to protect themselves, and often at the same time hiding their corrupted activities, which allows them to indulge in more corruption in safety, while at the same time pretending to be good and moral on the outside. Corruption is their weapon to bring down their opponent, especially those who are onto them, regardless if their opponents are actually the ones doing the good things. They would dig up anything about their enemy to use as weapon against them, or worse, just make something up. Corruption is also their tool to control, twist, and manipulate the law, the mere sense of morality, the people, and everything else on this planet, and in this world to do their bidding. Types of corruption. Government corruption. Government corruption is the misuse and abuse of power, resources, and of other things to benefit a certain person, or group of people, and the active indulgent in the wrong, and immoral things to benefit the corrupted people, and or a select group of people. Government corruption is also the laziness to properly do one's duty and properly carry out their responsibilities. Anyone in the government can be susceptible to government corruption, e.g. government employee, people that have a specific role in the government like the head of a department or agency, and politicians. Everyone knows already what government corruption is. Public corruption. Public corruption, the more unknown type of corruption. Everyone knows the lying, cheating, stealing, creating problems for others, hurting and putting others in danger, unwanted situations, and circumstances, are wrong, immoral, and illegal. This is why, especially in the country like the Philippines where corruption is rampant, people get very angry when they learn that the government is stealing money from them, is pocketing such stolen money, and it is the people that have to suffer for it. This is also why, when such bad things happen to people, such people would normally call for justice. But despite Filipinos already knowing that lying, cheating, stealing, creating problems for others, hurting and putting others in danger, unwanted situations, and circumstances, are wrong, immoral, and illegal, many people, many Filipinos, are still indulging and committing such wrong, immoral, and illegal activities. Scams are everywhere. Some call centers, and business process outsourcing, BPOs, are actually scam centers. Robbery, snatching, and pickpocketing is still a problem, as well as gun violence, as certain people are illegally carrying firearms in public place. Then there are the bullies, people who would hurt others for their own pleasure, or for the stupidest, most mundane reasons. Some people are also probably lying and cheating their way to success, to a more comfortable life, in other less serious but equally wrong, immoral, and illegal ways. Many Filipinos already knows the importance of obeying the laws, rules, and regulations of the road, and the potential consequences of not doing so. But despite this, many Filipinos still actively disobey the laws, rules, and regulations of the road, due to various reasons, only to complain if they got stuck in traffic, because the road got chaotic, or worse, they got into an accident. Many Filipinos already know right from wrong, good from evil, what they must do and what they shouldn't do. Many Filipinos already know that lying, cheating, stealing, creating problems for others, hurting and putting others in danger, unwanted situations, and circumstances, are wrong, immoral, and illegal, because if they are the victim of such same things, they would probably call for justice. But despite this, many Filipinos are still doing the wrong, immoral, and illegal things, if they think such things will benefit them more, despite already knowing and experiencing the potential consequences. The only way any person could justify and do the wrong, immoral, and illegal things, despite already knowing that such things are wrong, immoral, and illegal, and despite knowing and experiencing the potential consequences already, is if they already have been corrupted. The problem. People know that corruption is bad, that nothing really good comes out of corruption, and that many of the problems, unwanted situations, and circumstances that we face in our daily life are created due to corruption. Because of this, many people have tried fighting corruption, but despite many people already tried fighting corruption, corruption still exists and probably has only worsened. But at the same time, there is a huge possibility that corruption has already become a part of the lives of many people. That corruption itself has become a tool to compensate for the negative effects of the corruption of other people and get a better life. For this reason, even if people already know that corruption is bad, it is the leading source of the problems, unwanted situations, and circumstances in our life, on this planet, in this world, and universe. Corruption still exists, many people still indulge in corruption, and corruption is still creating more problems, unwanted situations, and circumstances. There is the possibility that even if people know that corruption is bad, and the problems it brings, people might not really care about fighting corruption, and doing good, for as long as they think it is more beneficial for them not to do so. People only fight corruption and do good if it is easier for them. They think that indulging in corruption is less beneficial for them, and fighting corruption goes in line with their own narrative. But again, at the same time, people will support and indulge in corruption, to varying degree. If people think that it would be more beneficial for them, fighting is harder, and indulging in corruption goes in line with their own narrative. Otherwise, how would you explain why many people are still indulging in corruption, despite knowing the problems corruption will be created? But then when problems start appearing, because of corruption, the same people will complain. Fighting corruption. Many people already know that corruption is bad, and so many people have tried fighting corruption, but corruption still exists. When people fight corruption, they only fight the corruption they see outside of themselves, that other people are indulging in. The corruption that might be brewing inside of them is unchecked and is usually allowed to grow. One of the main problems when fighting corruption is that there is always the possibility that the people that are fighting corruption are in fact also corrupted. That the people that are supposed to be fighting corruption are in fact also indulging in the wrong, immoral, and illegal things. But such people do not know this, because their own sense of morality, right and wrong, good and evil, has been already twisted, due to them being corrupted. That the people that are fighting corruption are only fighting corruption to eliminate their enemies, and anyone who can expose them. They are not really fighting corruption to actually end corruption, although they might claim to be. To successfully fight corruption, you must first look inward first and fight the corruption that might be brewing inside of you. Because otherwise, everything you did to fight the corruption you see outside of yourself might be useless, as even if you are successful in fighting the corruption you see outside of yourself, you might just end up replacing the corruption you have successfully fought and defeated outside of yourself with your own corruption. As a result, it does not matter how much you fight corruption, corruption will continue to exist and create problems. Instead of only fighting corruption when corruption finally consumes a person, we must also prevent first other people from succumbing to corruption in the first place. What is the point of fighting corruption, if nothing is done to prevent other people from succumbing to corruption in the first place? This can be done by prioritizing teaching morals, manners, etiquette, honor, discipline, sense of responsibility, respect, courteousness, etc. first, to children, teenagers, and students, to make the people's mind, heart, and personality more resistant to being influenced and corrupted by evil. There is a huge possibility that the traditional educational system, schools, universities, colleges, are prioritizing academics more, and teaching morals, manners, etiquette, honor, discipline, sense of responsibility, respect, courteousness, have taken a backseat, or worst have been totally forgotten. This increases the chances of creating smart, talented people that have no sense of morals, manners, etiquette, honor, discipline, sense of responsibility, respect, courteousness, that has a very weak mind, heart, and personality. A person might have graduated as summa cum laude, is very smart and talented, he or she knows many things, and can do many things, but with a very weak mind, heart, and personality, they are still very susceptible to evil and being corrupted. Teaching morals, manners, etiquette, honor, discipline, sense of responsibility, respect, courteousness, etc. must become the priority instead of only academics.